Being a coach, for me, it's an opportunity to hopefully give back for what someone has done for me. I think I've learned as I've gotten older, you're not going to save everybody, and that's hard. That's a hard pill to swallow, but it's a reality. But man, if you can change one, I think you've done well.
Celebration on the field at Floyd Casey as the Farmers claim their second state title. The hug for Eric De Los Santos, one of the seniors on this team.
Congratulations, state champions again.
I'm going to accept this on a very special group of young men that I love more than you'll ever know. Thank you very much.
We got to see those kids today. Congratulations.
Thank you.
I knew I wanted to coach when I was a sophomore in high school. I absolutely fell in love with my coaches in high school. The impact they had on me outside of football was huge. And, to the point where my high school head coach was Ronnie Gage. He's since retired now, but my oldest son's name is Gage, and that's not a coincidence. I wouldn't be where I'm at today if it wasn't for Coach Gage and his guidance and just helping me get to college. Just, hey, this is what you need to do to get there. As soon as I graduated, Coach Gage called and said he had a middle school job open in Louisville, and I thought to myself, I've hit the gold. And so started out my career in 2002 as a middle school coordinator in Louisville at Durham Middle School, and just kind of worked my way up. Did middle school for 3 years, and as much as I hated being a middle school coach, I probably look back at those 3 years more than any other of, how to operate, how to treat kids, how to treat staff members. Learned a lot those first 3 years that I've used, for the last, 19.
Eric and I got married January 3rd, 2004, and we had to plan our wedding around football season. So we got engaged in March before that January. I would have loved to have a spring or summer wedding, but it just, people have a perception that coaches have downtime, and they really don't. So we literally looked for the first weekend that we knew that if for some chance we went to the state championships, we would be in the clear.
My role at Irving High, the official title is athletic coordinator, head football coach. Most things athletically will come through me. It's not just football. Football's probably the smallest part of my job right now. Being in the middle of a pandemic and people coming back in school, stretched pretty thin with just, if a coach is out, we've got to figure out, one, how to get our kids coached, because, just because a coach isn't here doesn't mean we're not going to have practice. Two, making sure we're supervised and kids are safe and we're still following protocol and that whole thing. My day's very fluid. I can have a schedule and that's all fine and dandy, but at any moment, that schedule can go to pot, and we're trying to scrap and claw and adjust to, the new normal, I guess. From a coaching standpoint right now, for me, I've told our coaches, I want you guys to coach football. That's your job. You coach football. I'll handle protocols and cleaning the locker rooms and doing all these, all these things that are necessary to keep our kids safe. I don't want to stress our coaches out with that kind of stuff. I really think it's made our kids and our staff and even myself more acutely aware of, you hear it all the time, each day's a gift. Don't take it for granted. But it truly is. Because I tell our kids every day, this could end tomorrow. It just takes one phone call and we're shut down. So I think it's made our kids appreciate that, hey man, practice isn't that bad. And it's helped our coaches appreciate our kids. The kids are showing up every day. When you can look at it as, man, I'm lucky to coach football today, because there's a lot of people that aren't doing it.
Our week as a coach's family is really full. It's packed with, both Eric and I working and him being gone, for games, not only football, but everything else, but then kids' activities. And I learned this in Coaches Outreach, actually. One of the first retreats we went to, there was a speaker that said something about Marriage is not 50-50, but when you get married, you have a perception that it should be or that it is. And that really like hit home with me, especially as a coach's wife. Because during season, it's more like 80-20, right? It's like, I'm here with the kids, I still am working and have a career that I love. I'm trying to get them where they need to go. I'm trying to make sure school, that they're getting good grades and doing what they need to at school. I want to be the best support system for him, so it's one less thing to worry about.
Some of the hardest challenges I think that I'd like to think a lot of coaches face, is just the time away from your family, that maybe the business guy who works a 9-to-5, doesn't have weekends, that he's able to do with his kids. You miss those things, and there's a worry in the back of my mind that my kids don't resent me one day because I spent more time with these guys in here than I did with them at certain periods of their life. That's probably the hardest part for me, just hoping that my kids understand eventually why, and that hopefully my kids see what I'm doing as opposed to judge what I'm doing, and understand that there's a bigger picture. I don't mind saying it, we've struggled here winning. But I also think we do some things that maybe don't get put in the Dallas Morning News. Our passing rate is probably as high as it's been. Kids showing up to school is probably as high as it's been. So there's some victories that maybe the common person doesn't see, but we live in an uncommon world and an uncommon profession. And so those kind of wins, I think, will help a kid much further than, a win on a Friday night. Now, we still want to win, and we're going to do everything we can, scratch and claw, to get that done. But at the end of the day, football's fleeting, and we want to build men. The impact Coach's Outreach has had on us as a couple and our marriage has been huge. One, something to look forward to in the summertime. We marked it on the calendar early, and we knew in March we were going to go here. And just having that to look forward to was huge. And then, the second part is just the ability that Coach's Outreach has to make you and your wife have a conversation, a real conversation, not she's talking and I'm listening, a real conversation about things that are real to her and real to you, I think is huge in just the foundation of a marriage.
Having intentional time together is really hard as a coaching couple, and you really have to make time for it. And sometimes you just can't. It's just, things are so busy. So it truly is time to come together and work through some things and spend time together. And there's been some times where, coaching couples really are fighting some battles, and to bring them together to get the help and support that they need. It's just amazing. And you have a support group that reaches out to you and makes sure you're okay throughout the year, and to be able to witness. Eric and I have had our own battles, but just to be a part of others and to help them and encourage them, there really are no words to thank a donor for that. They really are impacting lives or keeping marriages together for some and families together just by giving couples a weekend to reset and get help.
I can't stress enough how grateful I am for all the donors that have donated in the past, because it really truly has changed our marriage for the better. The abilities that donors have and the impact that they can make without even knowing, I think is monumental for not only my marriage, but countless others. So to answer your question, how would I thank a donor? 17 years of marriage, 2 kids, that's raising those kids the best way I can. Hopefully that's a good thank you.